Let's have a look at the teams for this one then, as Gloucester make 5 changes from their loss to Tigers last week. David Humphreys handing 20-year-old Callum Brayley his first Premiership start at scrum half, while Trinder's back in the side for his first start since September. The other 3 changes are up front, where Aleki Latui comes in for David Duke at hooker, James Hudson getting the nod to partner Tom Savage, and Ross Moriarty replacing Gareth Evans in the back row. For London Welsh, Justin Burnell has been forced into 9 changes, including 1 positional from their loss to Sale. In the backs, Elliot Keir replaces the injured Jewel alongside Alan Orcock on the left wing. There's a new half-back pairing of Will Robinson and Piri Wipu. Up front, Teoni Vea has 2 new front-row colleagues alongside him, including Rob Ellaway, making his first Premiership start at hooker against the club where he spent 4 years. So Gloucester then, they nearly made it 7 straight wins out of 7 in all competitions last weekend. Were it not for a final penalty that killed them off from former darling of the club, of course, Freddie Burns. Now referee Ian Tempest gets us underway in his 6th Premiership game, assisted by Nigel Carrick and Andrew Pearce. In the truck is David Grassoff, and from kick-off it's taken in, and Piri Wipu will get London Welsh going in their blue and almost purple looking away shirts. Wipu screaming at the referee, but ball is not coming back, and therefore it'll be an early Gloucester opportunity at the scrum. But a very nice run for the Cherry and Whites in 2015. Apart from that loss last week, they lost 9 matches from the start of the season in 2014. They lost just 1 more than they managed to win, but then 6 wins to just 1 loss since January in all competitions. They need a couple more in the Aviva Premiership to push into that top 6. Well, there are just 10 points between 5th place Exeter Chiefs and Gloucester in 9th. Callum Brayley on his first Premiership start, signed from Bristol last summer.
Crouch!
Skippered England under-20s to the defence of that Junior World Championship in June. Got his first scrum, and referee Tempest just gets a nod from his assistant. For Welsh this afternoon, when it's all about hoping to avoid a season whitewash. 24 games played, 24 lost. It was a pretty close affair at the Kassam and the LV Cup in November against Gloucester, but this is the Premiership. Much stronger Gloucester side, and they are of course at home. Premiership bout in Oxford in September finished 10-42 to the Cherry and Whites. Despite any talk of respecting the threat that London Welsh posed this afternoon, Humphreys and his men have to be eyeing up all 5 points this afternoon. That scrum a little steadier for Brayley to get the ball in. Good pick up at the back, and they're away through Callum Afoni. Manages to upend the tackling of Carl Kerwin. Ball's presented, Brayley again to the right that time. Uses John Afoa, the big Kiwi. Another good busting run from James Hudson. Gloucester just going through the phases over on that right-hand side. Hook into Kvezic. He's been on good form for the club. Want to alert the faces of the England coaches, no doubt, in this World Cup year. And the Welsh nearly getting a sniff to turn that one over, but now joining the line is Billy Burns, and he feeds it to the left. Henry Purdy in on that left wing while Johnny May is rested. Brayley to the right. Hook taking it right to the line and finding Afoa. Ball isn't quite as quick as they might like, and there's maybe a stray boot in there. Certainly the referee is keen to blow for the penalty for London Welsh not rolling away. And this, you would imagine, is ripe for 3 points on the board, and that's exactly what James Hook suggests to the referee that he will do. Tackle was from Tinknell. He's just in there. I think the referee deciding he wasn't making enough of an effort to get out of the way. James Hook, 15 out of 24 in terms of efforts from the tee this season. This one should be meat and drink to a man of his international class. No problem with that. And Gloucester are on the scoreboard. 3 points to nil from the penalty. London Welsh have got to be cleaner in those breakdown areas. Chilly afternoon down in the West Country. We've had a couple of showers, but luckily they seem to have abated by the time kickoffs come around. Will Robinson, young man at 22 years of age. Good jump and take from the restart by Hudson, but it's been turned over and fed away there from Ticknell onto Orcock. This is a good opportunity for Welsh, straight from the restart. Robinson, little shorter ball for Veyer. He's being well driven by Down up to that line. Quicker ball that time for Weepu. Robinson wanting to threaten from the 10 channel. Henry Trinder's got to get himself out of the way. Shorter ball and run from Down again. Weepu. Eddie Ahaleli just held up. They go close quarters again. Veyer thought about the offload. It's there on the floor for Weepu. This is some bright phase play from the visitors. Ahaleli once more.
Tackle! Tackle!
Tongan just taking it to a metre or two out. Matt Kvesic trying to get out of the way. And in fact, he's managed to get or give away the penalty. And I think there might have been a little exchange of glances there from Dean Schofield to Kvesic, because I'm not sure that Schofield was wholly innocent in not holding Kvesic in there, as Kvesic did try to make the roll away. It's those little bits of trickery and experience, shall we say, for the likes of 36-year-old Dean Schofield. This is the drive. There's Kvesic with number 7, trying to roll away, and Schofield just leaving his legs on him. Very difficult to tell from that angle, from any angle really, how much downward pressure there was from Schofield on stopping Kvesic getting away. But either way, it's given Welsh a chance to level the scores. Will Robinson goes through the process. Swings the left peg. Doesn't look to have any problem with that one, and the scores are tied. Robinson with the penalty for Welsh. 3 points apiece. Came off the bench last week in that game against Sale after Seb Jewell went off. Bit of a shoulder knock for Jewell, so Robinson came on at 15. Ball is well tapped back from the restart. Trinder, I think, the man in with that one. Braley, Kvesic. Oh, he might have thought he was through a gap there. Ahaleli did well to bring him down. Braley to the right, Hook in midfield. Ball's just come squirting out, but it's gone backwards, and it's there. Away from Braley. Hook just goes with the missed pass, wanting to get it down that left side, and Trinder is in the wing position, and he steps out of one tackle. He's brought down by Ticknell. Ticknell has to release him before he can go for the ball. Referee happy. Braley through Hook. Bashing through the middle is Billy Meeks, and I think James Down has felt the effects of that one. Kvesic. Braley once more. We have I think a penalty knock on. Henry Trinder's just getting some attention down this left side, and there's also some attention for James Down as well. Medical team on there. Penalty advantage comes at that point for Gloucester. And they fled it wide. Trinder got out of that first tackle. Goes down in the tackle there. Difficult to quite tell if there was a collision there, but well, this would be rotten luck for Henry Trinder. Getting back to the sort of fitness that he was showing in pre-season and in that opening game or two. And just as he was coming back, he got a hamstring injury playing for Hartpury. That was after shoulder surgery. And this doesn't look great, does it? Have to feel for him. Just his third Premiership start of the season. Still not terribly clear what's happened there. That's the collision into Down, and that was a big hit. And Trinder is getting a bit of air there. So we'll just have a bit of a stoppage. So, new man onto the field, Mark Atkinson. London Welsh really won't want to see him onto the field because although Henry Trinder obviously provides his own threat, it was Atkinson who scored 2 tries out of the 5 that were scored at the Kassam in Oxford. So Atkinson will be relishing a chance to get running at the London Welsh defence once more. Have a look up at the Gloucester coaching team. Laurie Fisher, David Humphreys standing behind with the earpiece. Looking like that Henry Trinder's getting some attention on the leg, I think, from where they were putting the inflatable bit. Oh, and I think he's just turned on his calf or on his shin, maybe his ankle, and that is going to be a serious injury if there's a break there, which you suspect it may be, and that is just rotten luck for Trinder. Just getting back to fitness, and it looks like he'll be out for a prolonged spell again. Good to see the crowd obviously supporting Henry Trinder as he goes off and starts what could be a long journey, but the game continues, and this will be a chance for James Hook to put Gloucester back in front. Flags are raised, no problem. Once more from James Hook, and Gloucester go back into the lead, 6 points to 3. Change made for Welsh as well, with James Down getting some attention, so Matt Corker is onto the field. London Welsh get things restarted. Had a decent rhythm when they were in the Gloucester 22 from the last restart. Managed to get themselves the 3 points, but that time Gloucester are a little bit more efficient with claiming the restart. And that's good work from Charlie Sharples. Away from Brayley. Big run from Latui. Brayley again, hook. Feeds it out the back this time. And they come left. This is Atkinson. Thinks he sees a little gap opening up for himself, and he's able to find Purdy. And the gaps do open up, but that's a good man and ball tackle from Welsh. Although it's desperate stuff, and it falls into the hands of Callum Mahoney. He must have thought he was in there. There's an advantage coming. The numbers are there for Gloucester, and the try is scored by Ross Moriarty. I think the referee is just going to check upstairs for this one. Moriarty crashing over, really good low body angle. Another one of those England under-20s. Just employing the use of David Grassoff. Question any reason he can't award, I believe. No problem with that, is there?
Tempo, you may award the try.
You may award the try. Gloucester with their first 5-pointer of the afternoon. James Hook with a chance to add the extras. And there's the conversion. And all of a sudden, it's a 10-point gap for London Welsh, and well, that's been the story of their season. Miss an opportunity, and you suddenly set the team on their way. It was really started from that high ball claim from Sharples. Atkinson manages to free the arm for that offload for Purdy. Coming back in field, really good tackle from Nick Reynolds, but there was nothing that Will Robinson could do next to Elliot Keir to stop that low body position from Moriarty. That ball's come sliding out the side. London Welsh wanted to capitalise on it, but we're just going to go back for the knock-on advantage. There's the knock-on from Alan Orcock. 11th club appearance of the season for him. Into the side for Nick Scott. Referee Tempest, as I said, just his 6th Premiership game.
Crunch!
Mark of a referee, often how well they can control scrum time, how few resets are required. Gloucester get a shove on, and it goes to ground there. Penalty to the Cherry and Whites. Ione Vea. He's the man pinged. Gloucester will go down the line with that one. Tongan to Ione Vea, 6 caps for his nation. Got a yellow card in this fixture in September. He'll want to stay on the right side of the referee this afternoon, but he's already alerted him to his work at the scrum. Gloucester will have the throw into this line out from the penalty, of course. Latui, ball's in, decent jump from Savage, the skipper. Ellaway has come round, but I don't think the referee is terribly happy with how he's approached that one. In fact, he's given the penalty away. Pleads his innocence. This is just another chance for Gloucester to eat up the territory down that right-hand touchline. Ellaway, 15 appearances for Gloucester between 2002 and 2006. Those the heady days of Philip Sant-Andre, Nigel Melvin and Dean Ryan. Corey Britton's injury has opened the door for Ellaway. 13 points to 3, the score. Latui. Jump again from Savage. Maul is called by the referee. Gloucester not getting quite the go forward on that. They might have liked to start with, but they've now found first gear. Penalty now coming, and it's away through Brayley. Meeks out the back door for Hook. Oh, it's just absolutely opened up for Sharples, and that is simple stuff from Gloucester. And you have to say it's pretty poor defending from London Welsh. A sense of the training ground move in that one for Sharples, but he won't have many more easy finishes than that in the Aviva Premiership. Scores his third try of the season, and this is how it came. Meeks, little dummy runner was Atkinson, and it was just too easy. Sharples in off the right wing, just no defenders there. And unfortunately, Piriweepu no longer has the sort of pace to bring down someone like Charlie Sharples. To be fair to Sharples and his pace, I'm not sure there are many that can catch him, but the conversion is added by James Hook. Gloucester leading by 20 points to 3, and we've yet to even have a quarter of the game go by. Robinson ready to restart. Welsh are doing their best to try and get the runners there. It's a good take from Moriarty. Solid tackle as well from Alcock. It's there for Brayley. High ball for Sharples to challenge, but Sharples just knocking on that occasion, wasn't quite under it enough. And the advantage is with London Welsh. Weepu on for Schofield. Bounces off Latui. Little show back inside is from Pienaar. He's a decent 8, Ben Pienaar. Ball down the left side. They're just trying to hold that drift defence. Robinson from Weepu. Good footwork from Kerwin. Going to be playing his rugby at Worcester Warriors next season. Robinson. Schofield. Places it back. Weepu. Robinson. Looks to try and create on the outside. There's Tyone Vea. Henry Purdy holding onto him for dear life, but it's a little 3 or 4 man maul. Doing their best to try and help Vea to the floor. And here comes the rain. Weepu. Robinson to the left. Decent, solid run from Tinknell. Oh, and the ball just doesn't make it into a London Welsh hand and goes off into touch. It's a little bit of hail that we're getting down at Kingsholm. The heavens have opened. There's that menacing black cloud. Nice weather for ducks. Sort of rugby, sort of weather you expect rugby to be played in at this time of year. Coming down at quite an angle. Unfortunately, the angle on the throw in at the line out wasn't good enough from Gloucester. It's see the hail bouncing off the players there. Chunks of ice all over the place. It's coming in at such an angle. The crowd, those who thought they were well under cover, standing no chance. They'll be selling a few more hot chocolates at half-time. Those boys don't mind a bit of hail, do they? Afoa, Latui and Murphy, Vea, Ellaway and Ahaleli, the front rows of Gloucester and London Welsh, and it comes back on the Welsh side despite the big shove from the Cherry and White's pack. Orcock, oh, it looked like an awkward fall. He's all right, but it's just been lost forward, our referee has spotted. Orcock with the run in from the left-hand side. Used to play as rugby at Henley Hawks, which helps the Oxfordshire connection, given London Welsh's move to the Kassam. It's his first Premiership start of the season. He's come off the bench a handful of times. Brayley. It's gone down on the far side. Is the referee content to see this one out? He is. It's not tidy though. Hook sends it downfield. The Shed lift the volume as Elliot Keir has to defend his first high ball at the back on his own. Did well enough. Hook, bit of footwork. Moriarty out to his back line. They're going to try and get going. Steps inside from Atkinson. Brought down by Weepu. Brayley to the right. Hook just goes around the right hand side and finds Meeks. Threads the ball through. Three Cherry and White's defenders there to put the pressure on Elliot Keir. Kwesic tempted to go round. Weepu gets the call from the referee that the ball was inside the 22, which means he's allowed to kick it straight out to touch. No need for the bounce. But possession is handed over to Gloucester, and they are still in that London Welsh half. If it's possible, the hail is getting heavier. It's a lovely afternoon to be an assistant referee, isn't it? Gloucester with the throw. It wasn't straight, it just wasn't very good, was it? But it's not the greatest of conditions. Bit of an icy slip out of the hands of Latui. Welsh have said that they'd like to choose the line out. Perhaps they're getting a sense that it's not going to work for them at scrum time. That would have been one of their options. One of the longest hailstorm showers I think I've witnessed. Still coming. Ball's in from Ellaway. It's one back on the Gloucester side. Kwesic there. Oh, fantastic handoff from Moriarty. He's enjoying himself this afternoon. He's got a try already. Brayley onto Latui. Good strength from Robinson to stand up to him. Brayley again. Come through Meeks. Gloucester a little flat-footed and going backwards at the moment. Brayley onto Callum Aphoney. To the left it comes. Through Afoa. Brayley just scragged by Weepu. Hook going backwards again. And the London Welsh defence cover this if Gloucester start to go wide. Atkinson put it out the back of his hand. Orcock went to try for the interception. referee's just maybe going to have a little look
offence on the screen for you.
as to whether Alcock did anything untoward, slapping it down. I think he went for the ball on first viewing. It used to be that if his palm was up,
Yes.
then there was a suggestion he was going for the ball rather than tapping it down.
Yeah, it's 11. Agreed.
Well, we've seen more and more of this in the game, and when a ball's presented like that and you're in the way, you've surely got to be able to go for it. Alan Alcock gets a yellow card, and Gloucester will get the chance to dig it deep into the corner. They shared up the volume. Gloucester come into the corner. The hail has abated. Latui, he's had a couple not straight. That one the referee's happy with. It's at the back with Kvesic. He was barely binding himself, and then he's gone for the line himself. And I think Matt Kvesic has scored the try. He has. It's Gloucester's third of the first half. And as Kvesic came away with that, he was looking for the options, but it very, very soon became apparent to him that he should just consider making a beeline for the line himself. That was the jump from Hudson, then Kvesic. There's just nobody there, is there? Too often the tail for London Welsh defensively this season. Try is scored. Takes Gloucester up to 25. No problem from Hook. There's Alan Alcock in the bin. That really gave Gloucester the chance to get into the corner. And then Hook has added the extras after Kvesic's try. And Gloucester are up to 27 points. Still over 10 minutes remaining of this first half. Of course, we did have that stoppage for the Henry Trinder injury. Brayley, oh, little dummy, but he wasn't able to get rid of Ben West as easily as he might have liked. Ball played in field from Robinson from Keir. Robinson hoists it for Keir to chase. Just comes down outside the 22. There's good placement of the kick, but now Billy Burns fancies it down the left-hand side, then finds Purdy. Seb Stegman's there, but he's able to offload to Burns, who started the move. Burns' pass is a long way forward. Billy Meeks hopes that it hasn't been spotted by the officials, but it was a decent counter-attack nonetheless from the Gloucester backs. And the Welsh will not enjoy being in their own 22 at scrum time. Good stuff from Burns. Gave it away and then knew to make the looping run. Nick Reynolds herring back to bring the move to a close. And that pass, maybe even the laughs of the King's home crowd, suggesting even we can't persuade the officials on one like that. Good drive from Gloucester and they get the penalty. This is the danger for London Welsh. Little bit of play that gets into their 22. They have a defensive scrum and they can't defend it. Gloucester opting out of any shot at goal. They could look to wrap up the 4-try bonus point in this first half. Of course, depending on the game victory, but would take an interesting approach to bet against Gloucester taking this result over the line at 27 points to 3 up. Good jump. Gloucester with it. How can London Welsh defend it? Kvezic like to go himself. Peanut has got a hand in there. Don't know whether one of the assistants on this side has got a look at that. Penalty is coming to Welsh, I think. Sorry, to Gloucester. There we are. Penalty is against Dean Schofield on that one. Gloucester will come again. Pienaar perhaps lucky not to be spotted putting his hands in there. Latui. Oh, now then, it's tipped back by Welsh. Gloucester failing to get the first part right. Weepu. Chance to clear the lines. Plenty of height on it. Takes play midway between the 22 and 10 metre line there. Stegman goes after it, but Gloucester will have the put into this line. Oh, it must have come off a Gloucester hand, which I missed in that moment. So London Welsh throw-in. There with Pienaar. Got it there for Weepu. Now Stegman gives chase. Oh, and it's brilliantly taken from Stegman. And he's got to remain on his feet to get the pass away, which he does, but it's gone forward. Suggestion as to whether the player was taken down before he caught the ball, but Gloucester with the advantage. Through hook. Burns joining the line to try and create the extra man. Hasn't quite worked on the chip through from Meeks. Weepu. Bayer. Weepu, right to left. Someone got a hand on that and he wasn't able to get it away neatly. Signal. Corker. Weepu again. On to Ellaway. Weepu looking to the right once more. It's come squirting out there. Gloucester reacting to it, but it's come off a London Welsh player. And Gloucester will have the scrum. Be tough out there in these conditions, just trudging through the mud.
Can you show me the clock, please? That's 7:19 to go. Yeah, lovely, thank you.
7 minutes and 19 seconds remaining of this first half. Alan Orcock in the bin. Surely must be on in half a minute or so. coaching team will be pretty pleased with what they've seen so far. They won't be pleased with the injury to Trinder, of course. The rain, the hail and the mud. That's West Country rugby for you. Brayley. Scrum unsteady on that far side, but the referee penalising Gloucester. Slipping of the bind on the far side. Matsui. No, I think it was Afoa who was the man who'd slipped the bind, and Robinson can relieve a bit of Welsh pressure. Quick chat about where this one's going to go. And away comes over. Here's a double-capped Germany international, Rob Ellaway. Not a nation particularly famed for their rugby, are they? But he's got the honours, and he finds Dean Schofield. And Welsh will try and rumble that closely down the line.
Off his head, off his head. No, not now, not now. Say more.
Still got it. Latui's in there trying to cause a problem. Schofield in constant dialogue with the referee where he could be. Then comes back round and gets involved. Welsh told once, and now they've got to use it. Weepu. Was a very flat ball for Tinknell, which meant that Tinknell got the ball and a fair amount of James Hook in the process. Then it's on for Ben West. It's a little bit static, penalty advantage coming to Welsh. Robinson hoisting a high ball. They'll come back if Welsh don't profit from it, but the ball goes loose. Plenty of hands on the floor. Atkinson thinks he's going to get a chance to come away with it, but the referee will call them back for the penalty advantage. And well, it's interesting to know what the decision is here for a club like London Welsh in this position, trailing by 24 points. Do you start building the score, or do you go into the corner? Because you're going to need 7 more than you're going to need 3. That looks to be the call.
How long left on Sunday?
Carl Cohen and Will Robinson happy to make that joint decision.
Lads, no, don't close it. Open. James, open. Keep it like that, please.
Schofield jumps. It's there at the back. Slippery old day. One team can get the momentum. It can be really difficult to defend, even if you're in the right legal position. It breaks up a little. Gloucester get the players in. Penalty advantage once again for Welsh. Make a couple of extra yards, do they? It's come down. Where's the ball? It's there for Weepu. He looked left. The defence is reassembled by now. Weepu with the little dummy and go. And was the try scored? I think it's being checked. But Matt Corker, I think if it hasn't been knocked on from the initial pass, what would be great hands from how that came away from Weepu. Penalty was coming. Welsh had a shot for nothing. And Corker, I think, has done enough. Well, now then, there is a little bit of loss of control there. Has Matt Corker got control of it there as it hits the ground?
The player has lost contact with the ball and therefore knocked it on.
So it's
Correct,
been knocked
you're
on
playing advantage.
by Corker, so they'll go back for the penalty.
Wait, no, wait.
Welsh will go into the corner again. Corker. Really good take that time, didn't let that one go.
He's through the middle.
Players coming through the middle. Referee's happy enough.
Use it.
Weepu goes for Tinknell. Tinknell didn't do terribly well with that one, and he got slightly isolated, and penalty to Gloucester. Billy Meeks was the first man in there. I think he's just had Matt Kvesic have a word with him. That's my job, going in there and jackling those balls. I think the two of them went in together. Combination of the pair of them, look. It was Meeks' arm eventually who prized it away. Billy Meeks auditioning for a role as a flanker alongside Matt Kvesic. Couple of minutes left of the first half then. Gloucester still chasing a fourth try. There is a sense of inevitability about it coming in the next 40, but London Welsh, they won't roll over, they will keep coming. Ball is won and down through Savage. London Welsh seemingly not too interested in defending that. There's a penalty advantage coming. And here is the ball for Welsh. Hook. Ball was charged down, so they'll come back. And Brayley. Looked like he might want to quickly tap and go, but gives it to Hook. Penalty was against Ellaway for playing the man off the ball. It's those sorts of penalties that London Welsh really need to clear out of their game. Technicalities due to teams getting an advantage of them are understandable, but little off the ball incidents, well, that's just discipline. Latui went for Hudson, but it's come back on the Welsh side, and Gloucester have lost a couple of those line-outs in those sort of positions. Orcock, who's back onto the field, is not put in a great clearance kick, and it might present some room for Purdy. Orcock with the follow-up. It's there for Brayley. Callum Mafoney. Combination tackle from Vare and Corker. Brayley, little dink through with the right boot, sends Stegman scurrying back for it. They wanted to try and keep that one in field, but they slid their way into touch and almost slid their way down the tunnel. It's got a little bit of a sense of inevitability about it. London Welsh doing all they can, but once Gloucester got on the score sheet through the try from Moriarty after two penalties from Hook to just the one from Will Robinson, the tries started to flow. Charlie Sharples with the second, Matt Kvesic with the third. Matt Corker thought that he had a chance for London Welsh, but it was just knocked on over the line. 5 out of 5 from the tee from James Hook, and it gives us a scoreline at half-time of Gloucester 27, London Welsh 3. So the players back out and ready to get underway as our referee Ian Tempest blows the whistle. What words have been said at half-time by the likes of Justin Burnell? It's got to be one of the toughest jobs in Premiership rugby at the moment, looking after this London Welsh side who cannot buy a victory. And West just thinking he'd spotted an opportunity to come in at that breakdown, but referee viewed it differently. I think he thought the scrum half had his hands on it. Making his 4th Premiership start of the season, Ben West made his debut in December over a year ago in the British and Irish Cup. 23 years of age, still learning his trade, no doubt. Gloucester already into Welsh territory at the start of this second half. That's a better looking line-out than a few we saw in that first half. Hook with a little show, and then into the tackle, and Hook is still away here. Opted not to go for the pass because there was no immediate option there, but it's then been popped up from Robson. He's onto the field, and it just didn't quite work out for Gloucester. So Dan Robson is onto the field for Charlie Sharples. This is his 7th appearance from the bench of the season. Of course, he is a scrum half. Callum Brayley is in charge of things in that role. So there'll be a little bit of a change around for Gloucester in that back line. Of course, we lost Trinder. Atkinson came on fairly on in that first half. Our thoughts and wishes to Henry Trinder with what looked like a fairly serious leg injury. He's just getting back to fitness, as we said. Latui goes long to the back for a second time, but it doesn't work that time. Ball is hacked through. Hook thinks he's in. A few of the Kingsholm fans think he's in, but we'll come back. "27 points to 3, the half-time score. Distinct hair of Laurie Fisher, and then David Humphreys behind him. Set piece hasn't been a solid hunting ground really for either side. And the Welsh line-out has worked fairly well. Their scrum has been a little suspect. Gloucester have been doing fairly well at scrum time, but have thrown a few line-outs wayward, so both sides with work to do there. Referee waits for the scrum to get steady. Ball comes in from Weepu. Front rows go down. It's just going to be reset. It's incredibly slippy underfoot there. Groundsman here at Kingsholm won't be enjoying what he sees. You can just see Ahaleli just loses his footing there. The whole thing piles down.
Crouch! Bind! Set!
Weepu gets that one in. Pinar's doing his best to get it hooked before the scrum falls apart, and in fact Pinar's got to be the one to tidy it up, and he does well there, the 28-year-old. Chip over the top. Gloucester coming forward. Purdy. Throw the players in there. Weepu thinks he's spotted the ball. Hook hoists the high one, comes out to the wing channel where Orcott jumps for it. Might have come off a London Welsh hand. Welsh doing their best to get in there and spoil it, and they've won possession. Away through Reynolds in the scrum half roll. Vea. Good tackle from Savage. Kvezik in there as well. Penalty London Welsh. Gloucester not getting out of the way. I think Matt Corker just putting in his 2 pence worth. Dirty old ball that Robinson just cleans up to get ready to poke down the left touchline. Into Gloucester territory, London Welsh will arrive. Just have a little meeting about what the call is going to be. Savage not making enough of an effort to get out of there, gets pinged. Burnell watches on, sat to his right. Gordon Ross. Caught up with Gordon Ross during the week. Of course, we've gone through the period where players look to see where they're going. A few players signed. Weepu just pops that up for Taione Vea, and there is going to be a score for Welsh. Or at least we think so. Looks like Carl Cohen could be the man to have crashed through. And that looked very good as far as Welsh are concerned, but Tempest is just going to have a little look. He thinks referee is just checking an obstruction.
Was he the player at the ruck that the whole back occurred?
Grassoff, David Grassoff is going to be called into play here. This is the ball off the back of the line. Ellaway. There's a tackle. There's almost a suggestion of a forward pass there that I don't think is the reason the referee was going to call this one up. Ellaway there, possibly making a nuisance of himself. Then on to Kerwin. Well, if they're not looking at the forward pass, not sure there was any clear and obvious obstruction.
I don't think he'd have made the tackle. We may award the try.
Try given. London Welsh get their first 5-pointer of the afternoon. Carl Kerwin the man to get it. Great work from Kerwin. Came in on a really good line. And Gloucester weren't there in numbers enough to stop him. Good claim from the restart. The kick's going to drift into touch, and he was outside the 22. If you're outside the 22, it's got to bounce infield before it goes. Weepu inaccurate, and he's piled the pressure back on his own side there. Gloucester Rugby 27, London Welsh 10 now with Robinson's conversion. Ball is in. Hook, little reverse ball back inside. Purdy involved. Gloucester beginning to ring the changes. Brayley. Davidjuk, who is now onto the field in the number 16 shirt. You could see Brayley and Dan Robson there around the back of that ruck. Robson just can't help himself, get close to it in his normal scrum half role. Meeks gets his head down. Ben West doing his best to try and stop things there, but London Welsh have done enough. Gloucester took that in, the ball wasn't coming back. It was a maul that sort of went to ground, but ball wasn't coming. London Welsh put in. Few shakes of the head from the Cherry and White's faithful. Well, at that stage the ball's gone to ground. You might argue that Billy Meeks has a case to the referee there. Of course, we've seen London Welsh take penalty decisions and very much steer away from the scrum option. Just wanted to get it out as quick as possible. Pienaar on to Weepu. Weepu's little chip for Stegman to chase, but it's a little too deep, and Gloucester can now come back towards the near side. Little darting feet from Atkinson. There's no one down that short side though. Robson, well tackled. Orcock was alert to the opportunity, and London Welsh will have the line out. Robinson. Looks like a proper second row rugby player.
Ball, beyond 15. It's a ball. Ball onside.
Chases on from Welsh. A little bit of pressure on Robson. Gets the pass away as now the sunshine shows itself in this second half. We had a prolonged hailstorm in that first half.
Forward all stop, 23.
James Hook had a little look down this right-hand corner. Alcock's there. Plays it back in field.
10.
Not a bad touch finder. Robinson helping in the back three division. Looks like we have some changes maybe being made by London Welsh. Back for both sides. Gareth Evans taking the field. Ahaleli and Tahani Vea have contributed there. Last moments, Nathan Trevor and Jack Gilding on. Sheila Perfisi is also on for Gloucester. And the ball is at the back there with Jacob Rowan wearing the number 23 shirt. Started a couple of games in September for Gloucester. He's off the bench today. Nicknamed Shrek. Well, that ball looked like it was punched forward from a London Welsh hand, but the crossfield kick has been really well fielded, and Purdy has got away here, and Purdy's going to go all the way. He's over the line from the crossfield kick to dutting it down. That is Gloucester's first try of the second half, but it's crucially their fourth try of the game. He got himself on the scoreboard against London Welsh in September, and he's managed to do it now. They're on the home leg at Kingsholm. That was the ball. I think we're just having a look at things from the TMO to confirm that Purdy was in an onside position. Yeah, there's no problem with that, is there? Really good feet and gas from Purdy. Oxford born himself, signed a new contract with the club in December, having come over from the Tigers last summer. He likes scoring against the Exiles. Welsh and London Irish, the teams he scored against in the Premiership. Takes Gloucester over the 30-point mark, and those are the extras added by James Hook. Gloucester up to 34. Hook dead-eyed all afternoon. He hasn't really had a particularly tricky kick to deal with so far, but that takes him to 14 points for the afternoon. The rest coming from the 4 tries. Gloucester 34, London Welsh 10. Will Robinson to get us restarted. Some heavy-legged players going after that one. Low position from Moriarty. Brayley. Robson is herring after this down the near side, but it's well taken by Ben Pina. Shrugged off the nippy scrum half. Weepu. Out for Kerwin, try scorer. Weepu to the left. Robinson wants to send some speedy men after that one. Hook is there. Stepped away from the initial first tackle from Keir, but comes back on a London Welsh side, and they're in the sunshine running into the shade, but the kick was charged down. It's then lost forward from Gloucester, and knock-on advantage coming to Welsh. Weepu to the left. Robinson just behind Ben West, then on to Robinson, who spots a gap that he decides to go through. Advantage over now. Dean Schofield places it back. Weepu to the left. Kerwin. Big haul to the ground from Moriarty. Robinson, oh, that's a big Man and ball hit from Savage. Skipper leading the defensive line there with real vigour. That ball just stopped as it got to the line, but Gloucester have taken it quickly, and Purdy looks to get running again. Tries to step Weepu, but Weepu keeps an eye on his feet and nails the tackle. Nathan Morris with the hit for Welsh on that occasion. Brayley. Gloucester, they look like they want to try and run this out of their own 22. Davidju. Now it's Brayley with the box kick. Central position, difficult one to take in the sunshine from Robinson, but he's done so and feeds it on to Orcock. And then Tinknell. Orcock makes the looping run and just trying to get away from the attentions of Brayley. Does well to place that one back. Weepu arrives. Robinson. Decent enough little spell from Welsh here. Schofield thinks he spotted some room through. Weepu. Almost a sort of basketball or netball pass back in field there from Weepu. However it gets to the men. Weepu again is scragged. Trevitt. Structures just deteriorating a little bit from London Welsh. They're tired. Carrying his Gilding. It's there with Corker. Looks to just pick and go himself. Tackle made by Hudson. Peanut shows right. There's a good drive in the tackle, but they do get the offload away, and it's Schofield. About 13 metres out now. Robinson. Tinknell's isolated a little bit in midfield, but Reynolds makes the run around to try and find Keir on the right. He's got some nifty feet, but Purdy having to do some defensive work on that occasion. The ball finds Ben West. Weepu gets there. Robinson, Tinknell. Have they managed to create some room on this left side? Pienaar's got to release that on the floor. Referee just having a look. Gilding comes over to play scrum half. He only knows one way, and that's to turn round and take it straight forward. Places the ball back. Weepu. Decent line from Kerwin, but I think the ball's gone forward, and now Gloucester have a chance to clear it, which they do. Stays in field. Robinson herring back after it. Knocked it into his own 22. So he humps it down the channel, and having carried it back in, the line out will be taken back on the 22. And for all of their endeavour, that look on the face of Will Robinson says it all. Weepu leaving the field, so Rob Lewis will take his moment. That was perhaps stretching the former world champion. Plenty of phases from one side of the field to the other to keep Piri Weepu on his toes, as Gloucester now come forward again. Meeks, the inside centre. Then it's Savage. London Welsh, after all that possession and attack, have now got to defend, and Gloucester will come at them hard. Bouched gets louder. Gareth Evans carries. Ball is there. They haven't got a scrum half. They've got two on the field, but no one there on that occasion. Coming close is Rowan. Good awareness in the tackle from Gilding. Kerwin is there as well. Evans. 5 metres out now. Ball comes loose. Hudson. Referee put the whistle to his lips, but he didn't blow. Hook. It's a good chop tackle from Orcock. He's got to get away though. Savage. Pushed back a metre, or it might come back on a Welsh side here. Ben West. Gloucester losing that right on the Welsh line. Lewis, his clearance hasn't gone clear. It's charged down. What it'll be, 22 dropout. Some long passages of play in the last 10 minutes or so. We're really taking it out of the players. You can see them desperately getting as much oxygen in as possible. Ben West just getting a bit of attention, but he's going to be leaving the field, and Lachlan McCaffrey will come on in his place. But he's enjoying the rugby at least, despite Welsh being on the wrong side of the scoreboard. Alongside his front row colleagues, Auckland-born Tongan Eddie Ahalele. Having a little joke there with Weepu on the sidelines.
Just make sure, please, not silly.
24 points the difference.
Thank you.
Restart from Robinson. Decides to go a little bit long and demand that if Gloucester are going to get in, that they do it from deeper. That's a really tricky kick in the sunshine, but Elliot Keir has done well. These long wintry shadows. Rob Lewis got to get that ball out. Puts the kick in. Down for Burns. Infield for Hook. On his own 10-metre line, just prods the ball down to the 22. He's found quite a bit of room in that corner. Keir comes over, and he's brought down by Robson. And Welsh get just enough numbers there in time.
Use it!
Lewis, little shorter ball for Nathan Trevitt, the former Cardiff Blue. Lachlan McCaffrey just tries to bust through, but penalty advantage. Well, the whistle was blown. McCaffrey looks a little unhappy not to have got away there, the ex-Brumbies man. McCaffrey played for the Western Force against the Lions in their tour. In terms of his Super Rugby games, he made his debut for the Waratahs in 2010. Waratahs with a decent win against the Rebels on Friday in the second week of Super Rugby.
How many, please, guys? How many? 5, 6, 5.
Alloway. Shorter one to the front this time, and it's well claimed.
Same ball.
Lewis under plenty of pressure.
Winger, stop! 12, 12!
Gets it up. Tinknell is offside. Referee gets the call in. Robson puts it up for Burns. Good stepping from the fullback. Now there's a possible overlap for Gloucester as they come out that left-hand side. Meeks just unable to get away from his tackler. You can see Tom May on the field. Oh, that's a wayward pass. And it's still not claimed. Gloucester just going backwards a little. Brayley threads the kick through. Robinson comes forward to take it. Little chip for himself over the top. Has it come forward off a Gloucester hand there? I thought it might have come forward from Robson, in which case Hook was in an offside position, but doesn't matter. We play on. Alloway gets through. Lewis. Little show from McCaffrey. Gloucester player is on the wrong side. Moriarty is penalised. Allow Robinson to put this into the corner. I think I was saying earlier, speaking to Gordon Ross during the week, there's been no mention of the future for these players. Some of them maybe with interest, the likes of Carl Cowan obviously going off to Worcester Warriors. No doubt some other offers on the table, given that the side look consigned to the drop. But he said there's very little chat between the players about their futures. They're concentrating on the job in hand, playing for London Welsh, trying to keep some pride in the shirt. And it's good to hear that that is how the players are approaching things. Motivation must be difficult, given their position at the root of the Premiership table. Elaway. Well, there's a free kick coming London Welsh's way. Just the 1 point in the Aviva Premiership table. McCaffrey decides to tap and go. His teammates were suggesting they'd stick it into the corner. Maybe McCaffrey's argument was, we'd only end up doing what we're about to do by the time we've done that. Now they come wider. Kerwin, 5 metres out. Similar field position to where they got their try in this second half, Welsh. Lewis. Schofield. Comes away from Lewis again. Robinson onto May. Really good tackle on Tom May. Elaway. Lewis. Still trying to go down that short side. Tinknell manages to get through. Ball back in field from Lewis. They're shipping it on. It's gone backwards. Tom May into James Hook. Lewis. Robinson needs quick hands. Kerwin. And it's a little reverse pass to Elliot Keir, and I don't know there was a need for that. And Welsh cough up possession. Just patience required really from the visitors in those sort of moments. There's Robinson on to Kerwin. Jack Gilding. He could have taken that into contact. Got to drive on, set up the platform. Should know better, the ex-Worcester Academy man. Just a little break in play at this stage. Coaches, of course, the more content of the two, but if you actually look at the second half in terms of scores, it's 7 points apiece. Gloucester may be a little bit disappointed that they haven't managed to fire as well this second half as they were doing so first half, particularly as, well, you'd have to say that the Gloucester team would be probably a little fitter than the London Welsh side, given that some of the players have admitted that's part of the issue for them this season. Away at the back with Evans. Lewis in there making the tackle. Kerwin as well. Now then, was there a knock on there? Referee didn't see it. Tinknell on for Keir. Chip through. Well taken. Oh, and a really good quick feed onto Burns, but he's just belted that out on the full. Really good take on the floor and pop up. Burns needed that even more off the right hand outside edge of the boot. But you can imagine, with it being effectively 7 points apiece in the second half, that's the sort of game that London Welsh will play. Let's win the second 40. It's how you keep motivated in these sorts of games. Duke in his 6th season with the club. Tuilagi on the near side, played against Scotland for Tonga in November. Had the likes of Calamafoni and Latui with him in that game, of course. Both Gloucester men. Free kick to Welsh. They try and go quickly, it's got to be on the mark. There's a little bit of a meeting going on between the likes of Puafisi and Trevitt. Escalates before it eventually dissipates. Dean Schofield playing peacemaker. Free kick then. They come in to have a word with the referee and it almost overspills again. Second season with Gloucester, Puafisi. A yellow card against Bath just before Christmas. He wants to stay on the right side of the referee. Puafisi putting good pressure on the scrum half Lewis there. Kerwin goes out the back for May, just trying to get a bit of depth on it. The pass out to the right where Stegman was lurking was just too aerial for him. Didn't allow him to really take it in his stride. Pienaar on to Trevitt. That's a better sort of offloading game. Robinson. Lewis in the line. Gilding. To the right, Robinson again. Trevitt pushed into that collision by Ellaway. Lewis again, Robinson. Oh, that's a nice pass off for May. Purdy had run up. He's got to get himself back on side or the penalty will come to Welsh. But in fact, there's a penalty to Gloucester because Welsh were not releasing that ball. Gloucester challenging for it. Will we see another try in this second half? Good jump in the line. Gloucester have it with Rowan. The good old West Country shove is what's coming the way of London Welsh. But they now have to take it wide. Referee in the way there. Mr. Tempest. Don't think you're going to be able to score it. Close quarters. They go an extra couple of yards. They're picking and going as if they're nearer the line than they are, Gloucester. Schofield in there trying to win that back. Hook, little chip through, Gloucester run through, but there's no problem for Elliot Keir. Feeds it up to Robinson. Do the standard hustle to go quickly. They'll take their time in the end. Robinson, where's he sent that? Is there going to be a chance for McCaffrey to jump on it? It is a Gloucester man who gets hold of it. Off to the right, Robson. Oh, that's good hands. Gloucester looking to create a little more, but there was a foot in touch. And now it's spilling over once again. Billy Burns and Will Robinson having a bit of a love-in. Just frustration, possibly from both teams. London Welsh obviously in the position that they're in, on the very much the losing side of the scoreline, but Gloucester perhaps feeling that they've not been able to do as much the second half as they perhaps felt they earned the right to do, and London Welsh have done well to spoil their rhythm, not allow them to get going. Of course, the job has been done by Gloucester. They've scored the fourth try to get all 5 points, provided the victory comes to them, which of course it will. Robson places it back. Evans is there to protect it. Brayley, Hook. It's a muddy old pitch out there as it comes wide. Kick right into the corner is a good one. Robinson happy to see it out. Thinks about the little quick one. Away, looking like he's going to see the full 80 at this stage. That ball goes out, knocked on into touch, so Welsh will have the option at the scrum or the line. I'm fairly sure they'll go for the line out once again. Away, goes longer that time. Corker takes it down for Lewis. Pienaar with Kerwin to punch it up through the midfield. Lewis, kick towards the right hand touchline there is a decent one. It's patted back in field and it's still alive. And is Purdy going to get another score? He's that close. Oh, I think he might have got that. Whistle is blown from the referee. Gloucester could have try number 5, and Purdy has had a really enjoyable afternoon. Combined brilliantly with Brayley. Stepped off the left foot, shrugged off the tackle of Robinson and had the strength to get over the line. That is brilliant play from the centre. Second try for Purdy. Two players combining superbly to keep that ball alive and keep going in determination for the score. Well, he's given James Hook his first real challenge of the afternoon. Not only has he got the sunshine to contend with over from that right side, but a real touchline conversion test. Oh, the flags are raised. Great work from James Hook. Conversion taking Gloucester over the 40-point mark, and the score almost resembling that 42-10 result at the Kassam Stadium in September. 41 points to 10. The Cherry and Whites, they've got this game in the bag. Henry Purdy showing some brilliant moments of class. Gloucester come again, straightening up, and Evans is through. He's got Brayley next to him. Brayley would have been screaming to get the ball there. Evans not held, he keeps going. He's come a full 60 metres downfield. Hook again, little short ball for Purdy. He's not going to get over on that occasion. Ball is there for Elliot Stook. Brayley. Billy Burns. And they're looking wide. They've got men there if they can get it there. Puafisi. Brayley, penalty advantage coming. Ball's popped up again. Have they got the men and can they use it? Referee's patience is being tested. Hook going to go for the corner from here. They'd like another. Jump at the front from Gloucester. London Welsh come piling round the side there. Don't know if anybody knows where the ball is.
Leave your arms down, leave your arms down.
Good drive forward. Quick ball required, and it comes. Meeks. Closer ball for Atkinson. Then they come wide. Have they got the room to use it? Robson, well nailed in the tackle. Davicic's there. He might have come close to the touchline, but it's come close. And the stretch out from Davicic. We're going back for the penalty advantage. Well, we were going back, but as the referee says, we've got the technology, we may as well check it. The near side assistant, I think, has said it's worth a look. Tuafisi tries to get that onto the line. We'll have a little slower look at that, maybe. Nothing doing there as far as the referee is concerned. It's going to be a quick tap and go for Gloucester. Ball not tapped there. Referee just calling Brayley back for a little instrumental moment. Oh, and Tuafisi will get through. He thought he was close a moment ago. He was so determined. He's the man who eventually does get through, and Gloucester get their 6th try. Well, Brayley tapped it correctly that time, and Tuafisi manages to bundle his way through. Hook to make it 8 out of 8 then. The flags are raised, and that will be the final act of the match. It's an exemplary afternoon from the boot from James Hook. He takes a personal haul of 18 points. I think I've managed to get hiccups in the process. 3 tries first half through Moriarty, Sharples and Kvezic. Then 2 for Purdy and 1 from Tuafisi to just the try from Kerwin. Penalty and conversion from Robinson. The job well and truly done by Gloucester as the sunshine still comes across the West Country.